Hi everyone, this is Professor Huang again. Today I want to use this opportunity to demonstrate how to construct a frequency distribution using Excel's pivot table. You should find a similar material on page 49 and page 50. So let's get started. First, we have to open the data file. So you have to go to the Excel data file association associated with Traptos and open that folder and open the folder. Once you open the folder, you're going to see there's a bunch of data file available under Trap2. So I'm looking at audit file. So open this audit data file. So once you open this data file, you're going to see like this. Then enable editing so we can um, editing the data. Now, how to use pivot table to create a frequency distribution using this data. So first step, let's go to insert, and then you're going to see on this corner, you're going to see pivot table. So click that, and so it asks you to select the data range. So I select all the data, including the label. And once that's done, then I want to actually report the result on the existing worksheets. And so that's basically we can do. Before I do that, and let me cancel that and highlight this output over here. So I expect that the pivot table, once I create it, should start from this cell. Because I want to be identical as your textbook. So let's do pivot table again and select the data. And so that's what we have done. And now existing worksheets already highlighted that we're going to start from C1. All right, so click OK. So you're going to see this dialog. Okay. Now, once this done, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this alternate term to represent the row labels. And then once that's done, then I also want to drag the data, okay, to the some value field. This actually allow Excel to start to calculate, either doing summation or count how many observations for each label. So you can see the label is 12. In this case, 12 is a label. 13 is another label. Now on this side, it basically just tell you what's the summation, how many of us observation belongs to 12. In this case, I can already see there are only one observation which is 12. But if we look at this 18, you're going to see, roughly speaking, there should be 3 observation which has a value equals to 18. So you can have a summation value equals to 54. So this is the first step. However, this is not really the frequency distribution we want to see. We essentially want to create using some kind of create some kind of data range, and want to know how many observations fall into each data range. So that's our next step. So once that's done, I don't want to use sum or audit. So let's click this function and see how many options do we have. Okay, good. We have value field settings. So let's click that values field settings. And once that's done, then you can notice that there's a summation, which you already see that the sum data has already presented, but that's not what the frequency is. So I essentially want using count. Count can create frequencies. So let's do count. Click OK. So you can see how many observations for uh, each data, like each value, how many observations does it have. For instance, there are among all these observations, there are 2 observations which has a value equals to 14. But that's not really a good way to demonstrate frequency, because we want to create a data range and tell how many, and want to find out how many observations fall into that data range. So in order for us to achieve that, let's go to, say, anywhere in C2. Uh, we can right click that C2, right click, then you're going to see a choice says group. So let's do a group and see what other options do we have. So group, basically, I want to follow the textbook. Basically, I want to start in the observation from 10. The value I want to start from 10 and end at 34. And once that's done, I also want to say each data bin, I want to have a gap equals to 5. So in other words, uh, each label, the row label, I want to start from 10 and then count the next 5, so 10 to 14, and want to see how many observations fall into that range. That's basically the logic behind these choices. You can make some changes. You can change to 4. You can change to 3. Really doesn't really matters too much. But I want to duplicate the result on page 51. So once you've done that, then you can click OK. So that's what you're going to see. It's essentially identical as your uh, figure 2.7 on 51. And you can see that the second data bin, 15 to 19, you have 8 observations fall into that range. You can actually click this, and if group make some choices and make some changes, you say, what if I want to do, instead of 5 as the range, let's do 3. And if that's the case, then you're going to see more data range, basically, the more classes, and then the result could be changed. But let me go back to revert back to the original one. All right. So that's the pivot table, how to create the frequency distribution. Thank you for watching.